Welcome to Ravens Over. Please subscribe to my channel, also hit the notification bell and like this video and share. I come to you with bad news. Who lost my sister. Her name was Nare Mphela, 28 years old, and she was murdered. I want to share the whole story with you, what actually went down and happened. I want to share with you now. Share this video. Welcome to
Hey, what's up? How you doing? How you been? What's going on? What's good? Are you getting it in? Somebody getting it for you? What's going on, people? Subscribe to my channel.
Her name was Nare. Now I want to share the whole story with you. As far as this, I need y'all to work with me here, because this is from Africa and stuff, so it's kind of like a little bit different for reading this, so work with me here. But I'm going to start from the beginning. Victorious for the transgender learning in Limpopo, a long time coming. Now the story has been reported back in March 2017, the 24th. Now it said there's a landmark ruling unfold last week in Shihigo court order Limpopo Department of Education to pay $60,000 in personal compensation to Nare, a transgender woman from Jamala village. The case, which is officially brought to the court by the South African Human Rights Commission in November the 14th, 2016, is held to try for the LGBTQ rights for South Africa. However, the story has its roots as far as back in 2014 with Nare only now emerging from her bureaucratic purgatory. Now, the ordeal began with Nare began facing severe discrimination at her gender identity from the school principal and KF Manamela. According to her instructor, her friends stopped referring to her as their sister, told them to provoke and harass her in the school toilets, as well as grab her couch and find out what is there. Now, Manamela, with further said, have forbidden Nare from singing hymns and would employ corporal punishment illegal since 1997 in an order of discipline her. In an effort to the end of the abuse, Nare approached the vice office of G.A. Matlela near the schools. That the office directed her to Limpopo LGBTI Proudly Out, a local advocacy organization for Nare. Also approached the Limpopo branch of South African's Human Rights Commission, who directed her to the Shihigo court in Polokwane. However, the Equality Court had never dealt with any case pertaining to the promotion of equality and prevention of an unfair discrimination act. Now, the Equality Act since the inception of 2000. The clerk on duty had no knowledge of how to process Nare's case. Now, such events are now unique, and Nare, as any transgender person would know, South Africa Constitution is one of the progresses in the world regardless to protection of the LGBTIQ persons' rights in municipal law, such as Equality Act, serves to supplement this. However, this does not always translate into action from the various levels of the state. Now, this is the case that went on in reference to her and stuff, which basically allegedly she was there was the court order to pay her $60,000 in a personal compensation for Nare, a transgender woman. Now, I'm going to go speed up the track as far as now of today. Today of January the 15th, 2020, a transgender advocate, Nare, found murdered boyfriend question. Now, Limpopo police investigating the death of a transgender activist, Nare, 28 years old, who decomposed. The body was found in a rental room in Parkmore, Segalola village outside of Mokopine on Sunday. Now, the deceased was found in multiple stab wounds. She was found with multiple stab wounds and was already in the state of decomposing. The police spokesperson in Brigala said in a statement on Thursday, police were notified by the residents who were suspicious that Nare's vehicle had been parked for a long time near the home, which had a bad smell coming out of it. Now, Nare made headlines back in 2017 when the Shihigo court ordered the Limpopo Department of Education to pay $60,000 in personal compensation to her after facing discrimination from the school principal due to her gender identity. Now, it's also stating that previously reported that the case brought to the Court of South Africa Human Rights Commission, SAHRC, is a triumph for the LGBTQI rights for the South Africa. Now, police have taken the deceased boyfriend into question. However, no arrest has been made. Authorities have no further calls to the members of the public to come forward with any information regarding Nare's death. Now, it's also stating that they had the thing as far as arresting power for Nare, 1992 to 2020. We have rights to live our lives as itself and as our rantee. And this is the Department of Basic Education for Equality Court for Discrimination Against Gender Identity had an expression in 2017 which she run a landmark case that would have real positive influence on transgender people seeking a safe education environment. Okay. Now, as I shoot over to another website, because I have to go through all these websites to make sure everything can add up, because a lot of times these stories sometimes they're very much elaborated, and I try to make sure everything lines up in order, with everyone I go to try to, make sure it is accurate as far as possible, because it's definitely devastating and stuff like that as far as, the whole thing playing out. Now, I did a little bit more digging to try to find out even more information on her in reference to her life and living. And I found a video on her basically speaking on the case itself, living life. It's not in English. You gotta read the subwords, and I'm trying to get as much information out there. The whole thing is not in another language. Some of it is English and stuff, but I'm gonna need you to work with me here in this one. It's so sad and devastating at the same time, because here's a beautiful woman that was trying to live her life out true, and she ends up murdered. But before I go into all that, I want to share the video with you and stuff. So here it goes.
Mpopo Mamadlala Flag Fontaine. Ka 2014 ke bile le problem le principal ya ba ile gore a tsena ka classeng a ruta a thoma a ruta o bolela ka di-gay ya batsa gore bana ba sekolo ba botsisha rena gay ke mang gona ka mo a ntshupa a re gay she le na le yona ka mo classeng ya batsa gore ka molatsa ka mmotsisha gore menerong ro gore ke nna gay mo pela bana ba sekolo o re ba ntse jwang cause of ke tlhompha bana ba banyane le ba bagolo ene a sore bana ba ba tsebe gore na ke motho a mohuta ma ba tseba bangwe ba ke tsene le bona o tswela primary ko gae ya batsa gore principal a go mola tja koloi a tswa a tsamaya ka ya go last teacher ka el Mr. Mashitisho ka matlhalosetsa ka problem e ke kopanang le yona. Mashitisho a tlompotsa principal o re gopela tshwarelo a ka sa repeater a e tla classeng principal a tšea ka LO e phetolla a re botsa gore di-gay ko Egypt ba di bolaya nageng tša ka ntle, ka mo South Africa di-gay a ba di bolaya ka re di na le ditokelo. Ngwana sekolo a repeater buša rena e bang gay ke mangana mo sekolong a ntšhupa a re šwa le mmone le tsena lena ka classeng ka kwata ka lla ka tšwa ka classeng ka latša class teacher ka mo tlhalosetša the way principal a bušeletšang ka gona
In 2014, Iranti has a partner organization, the Limpopo LGBTI organization, who contacted us, and Nare had then reached out to the Limpopo LGBTI organization and to the coordinator in particular of the organization. And Cindy then contacted us and said, oh, we have a case of, I think it's a transgender woman who's faced discrimination at school. Could you please come and meet her? And so the Iranti team traveled to Limpopo and met with the LGBTI organization and with Nare. Iranti then asked our pro bono lawyers, Weber Wenzel, to represent Nare as a client in the matter.
In terms of Section 9, which is our equality section in the Constitution, the legislature has created PROPUDA, which is the Promotion of Equality and Prevention of Undiscrimination Act. And what that act does is it gives people redress when they have been discriminated against in order for them to approach a court within their area in order to get a claim or an apology, etc. That's what's available to trans students or anyone in a situation where they feel that they are not being treated equally simply based on the fact that they are trans.
Even though South Africa has this legislation on the promotion and prevention of discrimination in South Africa that encourages the establishment of equality courts, like at the magistrates level, it should be done much more speedily. This case of Nare is the first equality court case heard in Limpopo province, firstly, and then it's the first transgender equality court case matter in South Africa. And I think it's great. I believe there could have been delays in hearing this case because judges simply didn't know what to do.
Dikgwedi ke le ka gara sekolo gore ke kgone go fetša ka case ke kgone ke ya Gauteng ke tseba le gore ke ya sekolong or ke ya o nyaka mmereko.
The first reality that one needs to face is that unfortunately in South Africa our court systems take quite long. That's an unfortunate thing, and it happens irrespective of the fact that one's been discriminated. It happens in commercial matters, it happens in all matters. And so the fact that the wheel of justice turns quite slowly in South Africa is not necessarily an indication of where South Africa puts people's rights, where South Africa puts LGBTI rights or trans issues. I think it's a systemic issue which is a far wide issue which is about our judiciary and our judicial systems. It takes a lot on a person. You've got to now tell your story to the world. You've got to now go through formal processes, and sometimes that's not good for an individual. And at the time, Nare was still in high school, and our biggest thing was getting her through high school and getting her through her matric. And so her matric year was largely spent trying to communicate with the Department of Education.
Skolo ke tsene matric ka 2014. Ka ngwala examination ya ka ke le ka ra di stress ke ruiwa ke ya sekolong gore ke tshaba gore ke fitla sekolong menere wa mpetela o se o dire selo thoma o tsaya le batho e ke thoma ke ya toilet gore ke sa feel comfortable ka baka la gore o be a gona o botsa ditšhomi tse ke tsamaya le tsona re di ntetele go toilet di ntshware ka fase gore ke tshwere setho sa mokhutamang. So then ke rile ke boela ke re ke nya go repeat grade 12 ka 2015 in college. Ya ba ile a re botsa gore lena ba o tsela from other places a ke sa lenyaka ke nyaka ba mo moletsi fela lena ba go tsela go matlala a ke sa lenyaka. Ya batla gore ka bona gore ke dule gae bo kaone ke tle Gauteng ke tenyakele mmereko o ile ngoro ka gona go nkhabara ka gona ya sekolong ka tšwa thuto tša ka pele.
So we claimed 20,000 Rand, and the first 20,000 Rand that we claimed was a suggestion from the psychologist who saw Nare. Nare had been through quite a lot psychologically, and that Nare needed to seek psychotherapy in order to be, to be better, and in order for her to process what has happened to her. The second amount which we claimed was an additional 20,000 Rand, and that amount we explained was in order to allow Nare to go back into the schooling system. The rest of the amount was an amount of 60,000 Rand which we claimed, and that is just for what we in law call your pain and suffering.
Almost 3 years later, but nonetheless, you know, we have this great decision and judgment that also advances the rights for transgender children in school going forward, and I think that's great.
We had firstly asked that the principal, who at the time was the one who harassed and discriminated against Nare and called her names and othered her, we asked that he be taken for sensitization training. The last thing which we asked for, which we're anxiously waiting to see how far he went with, is we asked that the Department of Education be ordered to come up with policy on transgender issues and on LGBTI issues at large. And what we suggested is that the South African Human Rights Commission should be given oversight over what the policy will look like, because it's one thing to have a policy which doesn't speak to the issues, where they haven't consulted with the trans community, and so it's very important to us that that policy is drawn up properly. It's very important to us that that policy represents the voice of the trans community and not just some textbook idea of how things should be.
We've really had to work on an advocacy plan that looks at almost, in a way, demilitarizing school approaches to discipline. But also, how does schools understand the inclusion of lesbian, gay, transgender and intersex kids at school in a way that becomes more inclusive. And so we find that schools use very simple techniques of discrimination, like the school uniform. In 2015, for our Transgender Day of Remembrance, we had a dialogue with the Department of Education and the trans community, and actually a much broader LGBTI community, but specifically looking at transgender issues at school. And Nare attended this dialogue, spoke about her particular case, and so we've had to deal with the different forms of advocacy, how to engage with the department to change the code of good practice into one that is more inclusive of diversity, that's more understanding of that schools and children come with a diverse range of gender identities, a diverse range of sexual orientations to school, and how do schools become more integrated in their approaches.
I by no means think that the policy or this judgment is going to change everything for everyone and that overnight everything's going to be okay. But I think it's a small victory and a small step in making this, making discrimination a thing of the past, making trying to be understood a thing of the past. And so I'm quite excited about the judgment, and I'm quite excited about the possibilities which it opens up for change.
Ke feel alright ka baka la gore department e tlo gona lo nkisha sekolong, ene bile se segolo se ke senyaka mo go bana go department gore o ka re ba ka ntsha batho ba ileng gore ba tseba ka bophelo ba motho, ba ba romele dikolong tse di fapana di 9 province tse ka moka gore ba kgone ba botsa ka bophelo ba di LGBTI gore na leina le la le image eng, ene batho ba ba so re ba tlhokomela jwang, re ba tshwara jwang. Ska ke re motho o mongwe e le wa leloko la LGBTI a ya sekolong a nagane gore o mmitša ka mabitso a se bang gona. So nna ke feel happy bile ke re ka case ya ka e batho bo botlhe ka moka e batho ba bala story saka ba kgone go kwa gore ke kole bothoko o fitla kae, se tla ba tlhatholela something gore ge bana le bana ba bangwe ba ileng gore ba phela bophelo ba go tshwana le nna ba ska ke phitla ba ke tsweletse cause of se bona ke modimo, ene re na le di rights tsa gore re phele the way re nyakang ka gona. Nna ke feel happy e ke bona case ya ka mamatla e fedile, department e bile gona le mpusha gore ke ye sekolong.
Okay, she's 28 years old. She was found murdered. after she won a historic 2017 discrimination lawsuit found dead in her home. Now, it's kind of conflicting stories to me, because first I read that she was found dead inside of the car. Now I hear she's found dead inside of her home. Every day the threat of violence against queer and transgender people becomes very active and stuff. And the thing is that it gets me, it says the deceased was found in multiple stab wounds and was already in a state of decomposing, the police said, allegedly. Now my thing is this: how could you have a boyfriend and you're decomposing and he's not reporting it? Now it says his boyfriend was taken into question, but the police said they haven't made any arrests so far. How do you have a boyfriend and he's not speaking out in reference to, like a boyfriend would do? My personal opinion, if I was murdered. The police are investigating the murder of the transgender woman, Nare. The landmark case in the Department of Education 2017. Nare was decomposed. The body was found in her rental home in Sikika village outside of Mokipain. And she was decomposing. This is what I'm saying is conflicting. One where she was in the car, and now when she's inside of her rental home, she was decomposing. At some point, I don't understand how she could be decomposing and she had a boyfriend. That means she was already dead a long time ago. She was stabbed to death. So she was stabbed to death. She's decomposing. She has a boyfriend. She has this whole thing going on, and no one seems to be looking out to see if she's okay. This sounds so familiar about what I just talked about to y'all, about this job, what I'm going through. You push so hard to try to get people to understand something, and then you ended up found dead when you fight back. The deceased was found with multiple stab wounds and was already in a state of decomposing. Now, how could you be in a state of decomposing? I just don't understand that part. Please comment below now you feel about that. How could you be decomposing if you have a boyfriend, all this stuff going on in your life? How could you be decomposing? Because people should be more active in her life, around her and stuff. And this is the problem I have with this world. People let you down. You go all the way out to support your community, you fight back, and when it all comes down to when the smoke clears, your ass is murdered. Everybody else move on with their life. Now she fighting for rights, and she can't even enjoy them because she already got murdered, stabbed to death. Not only was she stabbed to death, she was left there decomposing. They smelt her body. That's how they found her. The deceased was found with multiple stab wounds and was already in a state of decomposing, the police said. Police were notified by the residents was suspicious that Nare's vehicle had been parked for a long time near her home, which had a bad smell coming out of it. And see, this is the problem I'm having here with these conflicting stories. Now she has a bad smell coming out the car, and then now she's having a bad smell coming inside the rental house. These are two different conflicting stories. Either she died in the car or did she die in the house. I don't know which one it is. She was already harassed at school. Allegedly, she was told the students were told to grab her between the legs to see what she got to make her into a mockery and a joke. And on top of that, they was ordered to pay her $60,000 in personal compensations for after she faced discrimination from the school principal due to her gender identity. So she just kept suffering and suffering and suffering, and in the end, she ended up being stabbed to death, and they can't even tell which way she's murdered. Was she murdered in a car? Was she murdered in a rental apartment, in a rental room? All we know, she dead. And she's an activist. And this is the problem I have. When you're a person that's standing up in your truth and you're fighting back, you better make sure you are the first, in the middle, and the end. Because when you're looking for that cavalry to come, they ain't coming. They ain't coming. They let the boyfriend go. Because they say he didn't do it, allegedly. So where's the justice at? Where's the justice? They let her down. This is what the world do. They let you down. They put you in these compromising situations. You fight back. You go against things, and you stand up for your rights, and you end up dead. It just amazes me how this world moves. This is why I am the way that I am. I have trust issues. I do not trust people. And this is why. Because somebody she know, my personal opinion, killed her. And the thing about it is, not only did they kill her, they made sure she was dead because nobody even reported it in. How could you have a boyfriend he ain't even looking for you, knowing all the hell you're going through? Unless he's a part of the problem, or unless he was a part of the killing. My personal opinion. Something just don't smell right here to me. It's conflicting stories, and to me, my personal opinion is, even though you may have a man and stuff like that, did somebody get in his hand and say, get rid of her? And he did it. This is my personal opinion. Because if you have a girlfriend, that's your girl, you don't check up on her. She was decomposing. The only way I wouldn't check up on her if I did it. And I'm waiting for the decomposing stuff, and this way they can't figure it all out what I did. Now it's conflicting things about the car and the house. But anyway, I just wanted to share this with you because, you know, within these countries we live in, everywhere it seems to be fucked up to me. It's like no justice, no peace. Even in fucking America, everything just seemed to be so fucked up. Now here it is. She's found murdered, and the boyfriend is a question. He's let go. Go ahead, back home. Get your $60,000. It's all yours now. The family and my prayers of this beautiful girl that's been murdered. And my sisters out there, please be safe and watch your back, because at the end of the day, the one who's smiling in your face, maybe laying next to your bed, maybe your damn killer. You may have brought him home and don't even know it, because you so thinking that a man finally accepts you and he's smiling in your face like you know he love you. And at the end of the damn day, when it all smoke clears, your ass is dead and he going on by his damn life. This storyline plays too goddamn many times, and I'm sick of the fucking lyrics, and the song don't even sound good at all. But here it is, this girl is dead for fighting back, and she's found murdered. The boyfriend's questioned. Anyway, y'all comment below knowing how y'all feel about this. What do y'all feel about this? How do y'all feel who did this and stuff? Do you feel it was a setup? Because my personal opinion is, whoever killed her wanted her body decomposed. I don't even think they even expected her body even be found. I'm surprised they didn't find her in a shallow grave. Because for her to be decomposed, it means that nobody was really looking for her. And how could you have a girlfriend you ain't looking for her? That's questionable to me. That's questionable. Anyway, y'all comment below. Let me know how you feel about this. And this is the reason why I don't have a man. Because the more I don't have a man, the more I'll live. When I bring a man home, that means I might have brought the killing next to me to be. No, it's not all men. I get it. But at the end of the damn day, this shit is sounding too goddamn familiar to me. Y'all comment below. Let me know how you feel about this. Like I said before, subscribe to my channel. Share my videos at the top. There's the Instagram button. If you follow me, I'll follow you back. Let you. I love you. And thank you for watching History.